safe and well.
Today we are joined by Sarah from NCT Parents in Mind. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thanks for having me here today.
That's all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing all right, thank you. I think, like many people at the moment, just kind of getting through the days, and we've got, it's kind of situation at home very much like a lot of people, where there's kids to entertain, there's work to do as well, and it's just a case of trying to juggle them as best we can. But we're all safe and well right now, and that feels like the most important thing.
I think it is, definitely. Have you got any top tips for families watching?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I've really learned just by chatting to friends, but also from the mums that we've been supporting in Parents in Mind, is how important it always is, but particularly at the moment, to try and avoid comparing your situation against other people's. So, we're all going through a similar thing, but actually, depending on what our circumstances are, we're experiencing this lockdown really differently. And only, you know your family and your children and how to meet their needs best. So, just try to avoid thinking, oh, well, they're managing to do this, or get their kids to sit down and do 5 hours of work a day and I'm not. It's just about really having that belief in knowing what's right for you and sticking by that. That's what I'm trying to do anyway myself, and just take every day, even every hour as it comes at the moment. A little bit like when you've got a newborn, I think, not thinking too far ahead into the future.
No, good tip that, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So most parents obviously know about the NCT, but do you mind just letting us know a bit more about it?
Yeah, so NCT National Childbirth Trust is a charity who support parents, and they support parents through the first 1,000 days. And that means pregnancy, birth and beyond. And they really do a lot of different things, more than perhaps I think they're famous for, which is probably those kind of antenatal classes. They offer lots of free services. There's a helpline that you can ring and get support on lots of different things around parenting, infant feeding support. Our branches locally do things like nearly new sales, well, not at the moment, but they would normally, and bumps and babies. There's a sling library in Stratford locally, and we also do lots of campaign work as well. So quite recently there's been a campaign called The Hidden Half, and it's all about the fact that 50% of women will potentially experience some kind of mental health difficulty in pregnancy or afterwards. But they're hidden, they're often missed by professionals. And it was all about putting pressure on to make sure that at that 6-week check after baby's been born, when you go to the GP is actually focusing on mum and how she's doing, not just on the needs of baby. And that went really, really well and was successful, and hopefully we'll start to see some real differences coming out from that soon.
Well done.
Yeah, that's great. And you run the peer support group Parents in Mind. So could you tell us a little bit about the group and how long you've been running it?
Yeah, cool. So Parents in Mind is a project which operates in 3 different areas in the UK. And we're lucky that Coventry and Warwickshire is one of them, and includes Stratford. It's a project that, as you say, provides peer support to women who are either pregnant or have a child under 2 and are experiencing any kind of mental health or well-being issues during that time. It's a listening and a signposting service, and all our support is provided by volunteers. Those volunteers are peer supporters, which means that they're basically mums themselves, and they're all women who identify with having gone through their own difficult time with their well-being or mental health when they were pregnant or had a baby, but are now feeling well and out the other side, like they'd really like to support other women. They're trained, they do a 25-hour training course, they do safeguarding training, they have DBS checks, they're really well supported. And they provide that support in 2 main ways. So one of those, as you mentioned, is group support. And that's just really sort of small groups, but the idea is that the volunteers facilitate those groups, but that the mums can support each other at those groups as well. And then we also have one-to-one support as well for women who, you know, the group's not going to be the right kind of environment for them for whatever reason. We have those groups in 5 different places across Coventry and Warwickshire, and one of those is Stratford, and normally we run in Tyler House Hub, just like Caterpillar Cafe does, but on a Tuesday afternoon. That's what we normally do anyway. You know, I think as everyone can agree, the normal's got out the window a little bit right now.
So how does the group normally work?
Yeah, so the way that it normally works is that it is a referral only service, but it's really easy to refer. Women can refer themselves in or be referred by a professional. But once they've been referred, then it's a case of using the group as a drop-in, as and when you want it. So it runs in the same room that Caterpillar Cafe runs in Tyler House Hub. You know, it's a nice, open, bright room. We've got toys and resources out, tea and coffee and biscuits for mums, and there's a volunteer or 2 who lead that session. And it's really, really informal and relaxed. Often women, I think, worry it's going to be a little bit like an AA meeting, and that they'll all be sitting around in a circle and have to take turns to stand up and, you know, talk about their experience. But it's really not like that. It's much more like a small scale, regular mum and baby group, but I guess with just a bit more emphasis being placed on mum and chatting about how she's doing. And the volunteers are there to just kind of guide the conversation, but depending on how many people come along, and it's never like large numbers, it's never overwhelming, then, you know, the women will just sort of chat to each other. Sometimes there's laughter, sometimes there's crying. You never really know what it's going to be, but it's always just a supportive, safe and informal, friendly environment.
That's really nice.
Lovely. Lovely you can have that.
Yeah.
How have you adapted your groups for lockdown? Have you been able to do any virtual groups or?
Yeah, so what we've been doing is with the one-to-one, it's a bit easier in a way because we've just continued them and created new one-to-ones still, but they're happening over the phone or on video call. With the group, obviously, it's a little bit harder to replicate that kind of environment. So what we have chosen to do is that we actually have WhatsApp groups. We have one for each physical group. So, for example, we had a Stratford physical group and now there's a Stratford WhatsApp group. And on that WhatsApp group, it's moderated. I'm on there. My team member, Bella, who supports me, is on there, and the volunteers who would normally be in that group. And new people can join, obviously, if they get referred in, but the idea is it's just that kind of virtual place to still support women, but in that small environment so that they're not feeling overwhelmed. And those groups are open 8 a.m. till 8 p.m.
Oh, wow.
day.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so it's been working quite well overall. I mean, it's very different. It's not the same as physically meeting up, obviously.
Yeah.
But in some ways, we've seen lots of positive things come out of those groups as well. We've really seen across the board the mums kind of replying to each other and supporting each other. And also, you know, occasionally women are actually able to take part in those WhatsApp groups more easily because, you know, we all know how hard it can be to sometimes get out the house with a baby. Perhaps you've got a toddler as well. But never mind if you're considering the fact that a lot of the women we support maybe are experiencing low mood or anxiety. You know, the physical act of getting to the group can be quite difficult. So in some ways, for some women, it's actually been an easier form of support for them to access.
That's great.
It's amazing. So have you noticed a change in uptake for the group and like the differences in needs? So obviously the environment's completely changed from being in the house constantly. So is there any difference in the needs? Because you've just said about getting out the house. So obviously it's like completely juxtaposed to that now, isn't it? It's staying in, is that?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, I think one of the things we've noticed that, and I think this happened across the board with a lot of services, is that at first our referrals slowed down a little bit. And I think everyone was just like, oh, they don't really know what's happening. No one was wanting to make any decisions, but they've really started picking up again. Now I think people are adapting to the fact that, okay, for now, this is the new normal. So we are getting new women still referred in to the project. And I think, as I said, it's just about really recognising that women are still experiencing their perinatal mental health issues, but they're now experiencing, as we all are, something else pretty major on top of that. And it's been quite a lot actually for the volunteers to adapt to as well. A lot of their situations have changed too. So it's just been about being really flexible, I think, and considerate to everybody's needs at the moment. And I would certainly say we're getting more demand for one-to-ones at the moment as well. People, I think it's great that we can support people online, and I know other projects are doing things on Zoom, etc. But I think at the same time, a lot of people are getting a little bit Zoomed and WhatsApped out.
Yeah,
and sometimes the idea, of thinking, actually, do you know what? I'd just like a phone call with one person to go like a little bit old school again. So again, we're just really trying to consider what individuals' needs are at the moment and support them as best we can, within the capacity of what the project can deliver at these challenging times.
If anyone does want to get in touch with you for support or find out more information, how's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so it's really, really easy to refer yourself in. It sounds formal, but it's not. It's a case of sending me a text, and I think hopefully you'll be able to see my contact details up. You can use the phone number to text me, you can WhatsApp me, you can give me a call, you can also contact me by email. And I have people who will sometimes send me quite a long description of what's going on for them, and that's absolutely fine. I have other people who just say, oh, hi Sarah, I heard about Parents in Mind, can you tell me what you do, please? And then we just have a really informal chat, take it at the woman's pace, and I can totally empathise that people are struggling at the moment to have phone calls, etc. It's again just that individual need. I'll try and support that woman to get herself referred into the project in whatever way is going to work for her.
That's great. That's really good. That's flexible and accommodating. Like you say, everyone's struggling, so that's really good.
Yeah. And professionals can refer in as well. So, either if you're a woman listening to this and you would rather your health visitor or your midwife or your GP to refer you in, that's fine. But equally, if there are any professionals listening at the moment, we are taking referrals, and we do have a referral form. You can find it on our website, but equally you can just drop me a text too if that's easier.
Great.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah. We really appreciate all the information you've given us. And we've learned a bit more, I think, about the NCT, which is great.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. And I just think it's great that you're doing these interviews and getting all these bits of information out to women and families. So thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for watching. We hope you found that useful. If you have any other groups or services you want to hear from, let us know, and we'll try and sort something out with those people too. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.